Again, this is a viewer suggested video by our beloved sgbuses, and then this is just talking about the problems with Jurong Region Line, or JRL in short. Basically, yeah. I'm not gonna go into like great detail about what Jurong Region Line is. You can just research it yourself and make your own conclusions. So one of the stations is Bahar Junction, and as you can see from this image, this is basically from Boon Lay going to Nanyang Technological University, NTU. And then this side is from NTU to Choa Chu Kang, and this is from Choa Chu Kang to Boon Lay. So you can go directly from Boon Lay to NTU, but you cannot do that when you're like coming back to Boon Lay from NTU. You would have to alight here, and then you cross over and board the train at that platform. So if you see the bigger picture, essentially you're able to go like this. You're also able to go like this, as well as this. But you're not able to go like this direct. You cannot do this. So you cannot do this, you cannot do this, and you cannot do this. So the implications of this is that for AM peak, this would be useful. For PM peak, this would be useful as well. And then this part is only useful in like one direction. I mean, if you're going from here to here, and then you're like lazy or something, you can technically just take the train like this, loop, and then wait for it to like turn one round. So yeah, that's a thing. And what this means is that PM peak, if you're going to Boon Lay, you have to cross over, and that's pretty inconvenient. And the same logic applies to like if you're going to NTU from say Choa Chu Kang or Tengah, you would have to alight and cross over to this side. Same logic. Now, for me, I personally do not blame anyone for the design of this station, because when you think about space constraints, you think about, I don't know, it's just space constraints in general, and the fact that they wanted to make the LRT into a so-called MRT line. They wanted to upscale it. Like, I don't really fault them for designing the station like this, because it is literally above a road junction. There's like really no other way you can plan it. I mean, there is one way, which is such that from, let's just say NTU in general, and then there's like Boon Lay, you make this like one service, and then you have Bahar Junction over here, and then you effectively just cut off both ends. It becomes like less confusing for people. So this one is Choa Chu Kang, and then there's also another branch from here to around Jurong East. So effectively, you're like splitting the line into three, like 1, 2, and 3. The advantage of this is that it's less confusing, but for some reason they just want to prioritize like the true service from, you know, from NTU all the way till Choa Chu Kang. They just don't want people to like alight here, I mean at Bahar Junction, and then cross over to this platform and then change. They just want to prioritize true services for like AM peak, PM peak, and it's only for like specific directions, which, you know, it's both good and bad. But this also kind of brings out the question, not the question, but it's like it brings out the whole flaw in the JRL that it's literally just an upscaled or upsized LRT. They're trying to like do too many different things at once. Again, good and bad, but the reason why Bahar Junction received so much criticism is because it is so weird. Like, it's counterintuitive. Like, you can go here, but you cannot go here direct. You actually have to cross over, and I don't know if people are like ever gonna get used to this. Like, especially when you look at a map, they have to like denote it using something like this. Up, like this, like this. They have to like denote it like this. Which is just, it's not uncommon for like roads or railway networks to be denoted like that, but it's just very, very odd. And it's, some people are just not gonna get it, if you get what I mean. And then the same logic applies if you want to do it this way as well. So it's like NTU, Bahar Junction, and then it's like you want to have like one main branch over here, like this, and then you want to have two separate branches, like one from here. This branch, there's like nothing wrong with it, and then over here. But again, you run into the same problem. Yes, you have through services in both directions from Choa Chu Kang to NTU, but people coming from Boon Lay or going to Boon Lay, they are just gonna complain. So again, it's kind of like whatever you do, you're just gonna screw over a certain demographic or a certain group of like commuters. So nothing really works, and then in the end they just decided to do something like this. So yeah. And I'm not in any way saying that like this so-called upscaled LRT or like MRT line should not be built. I'm just saying that this one, it could have been designed better because it just seems like an afterthought. It's like, okay, we shelved the LRT and then we're just gonna, build on our existing ideas which aren't even that good in the first place, and then you sort of come up with this rubbish at Bahar Junction. So yeah, I would rather I think many of my viewers, they have the opinion that like they should just scrap this one and redesign it from scratch. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I'm not an MRT expert. I am unable to advise you on how else this MRT line or lines can be built better. But yeah, I'm just gonna describe like I just described the flaws of this MRT line, and most of it point to this one junction. And I think there were also some suggestions that are something along the lines of like, why not we extend this part to Pioneer? And then there are also other suggestions which is more realistic. You extend this part to like Gao Circle, and then you use the platforms that are, so it's like you have East-West line on one side, and then you have Jurong region line on the other side. Yes, that's workable as well. I'm not sure if they're gonna do this, but it seems like the case when you look at the curvature of, it's like this is a restricted area over here. So you can only make the train curve to like Gauss circle, and that's the only extension that comes to mind. And then even if you make something like an actual Juwrong LRT, like let's say over here, and then for this one you cut it off at here and you call this like, I don't know, the Bukit Batok LRT or something along those lines. I don't think it's like, I'm pretty sure there's a reason why it was scrapped. So yeah. So the bottom line is that you keep it at the current state. It's bad and it's confusing unless people actually adapt to it. You cut this end off. It's also bad when it comes to like true service from here to here. Or maybe you know what, you just make people take 964, 974 and change 199. I don't know, maybe that's better, or I don't even know what I'm talking about.